The 1920s, am I right? I mean, who still uses a radio to this day? Like, look at this thing. I feel 80 just looking at it. I mean, nowadays we have a choice on these kind of things. Like, we don't have to be forced to listen to something we don't want to listen to. We can just use our phones. And the fridges don't kill us nowadays. We'll get into that in a bit, don't worry about it. For the 1920s, we wouldn't have half the stuff we would have. Like, from things from automobiles to radios to fridges to televisions and so much more. So, you know what? I'll give that to you, the 1920s, alright? How about we get into a little bit of history of that? Let's start with garbage disposal. This thing, you know that thing that your parents tell you never to stick your hand in, because then you'll cut your fingers off? Yeah, that's basically it, alright? It's kind of surprising that it was made in the 1920s, considering how complicated it kind of is. What a garbage disposal does is it basically gets rid of all the trash from plates of your food that's left over, and it dumps it off into another trash can, so that like the food and like anything that is recyclable gets separated really easily. Now, one major downside of this thing was that, again, if you stuck your hand into it and someone were to accidentally flip the switch, you could lose a finger or two, or probably your entire hand if you're unlucky. So that's not good. Now, you know that joke I made about how the fridge kills you over time? Yeah, that was a serious problem. While the fridge was useful for keeping our food fresh and our ice cubes frozen, the problem was that the compressor would easily malfunction, making the poisonous gas slowly leak out. So in the middle of the night, the parents and kids would both die of the poison gas coming from the fridge. The problem would not be solved until Albert Einstein made a new fridge, which didn't slowly kill you at night because the compressor was much more modern than what it previously was. Next up, we got the radio. This let people enjoy music, sports, and any kind of entertainment at home now. It also allowed people who wanted to pay to put whatever they want on the radio. It was especially good for sports programs because they were getting a lot more fans in these days because the radio was just so useful to them. There were not that many downsides to the radio, believe it or not. It cost $35, but if you want a higher quality one, it was going to be $350, which makes sense when you think about it. So in conclusion, if it weren't for the 1930s, we would not have half the things that we have nowadays. If it weren't for the 1920s, we wouldn't have this technology that we have nowadays. It also helped the nation double their wealth at this time, from the 1920 to 1929. Another funny thing I want to put in before I go end the video, jazz got really popular in these days, so I don't know, that was just really funny to me.